Dad once said, "You're just lucky. Anyone could do what you did if they got the same breaks." My 11-year-old niece screamed those exact words while standing in the shattered remains of my industry awards. Glass and metal glittered across my brand new hardwood floors. Behind her, my brother Nathan grinned and gave her a thumbs up, like she'd scored a winning goal, not destroyed 15 years of my career. 30 guests watched in stunned silence. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I simply smiled, walked out of my own housewarming party, and made a phone call that would change my brother's life forever. Before I tell you what that phone call set in motion, let me ask you something. Where are you watching from right now? And when you hear what happened to my brother the next morning, tell me honestly, do you believe that envy eventually destroys the people who carry it? My name is Miranda. I'm 38 years old and I've spent my entire life being resented by a brother who couldn't stand watching me succeed. Let me take you back to the beginning. Nathan is 3 years older than me. Growing up in our working-class neighborhood in Cleveland, Ohio, he was supposed to be the success story, the firstborn son, the one who'd break the family cycle of paycheck-to-paycheck living. Our parents scraped together everything they had to send him to a good college, believing he'd lift the whole family with him. Instead, Nathan partied his way through 4 years, barely graduated with a business degree, and bounced between jobs that never seemed to stick. He always had excuses. The boss was unfair. The economy was bad. The company was poorly managed. Nothing was ever his fault. I took a different path. While Nathan was in college spending our parents' money, I worked full-time and attended night classes at community college. I transferred to a state university on a scholarship I earned through grades and essays, not family sacrifice. I graduated with a degree in software engineering and started building a career in tech before the industry exploded. By 25, I was a senior developer. By 30, I was leading teams. By 35, I'd been recruited into a VP role at a major tech company, earning more in a year than our parents made in a decade. Nathan's response to my success was never congratulations. It was always, "Must be nice. Some people get all the luck. You probably had connections I didn't have." He couldn't accept that I worked harder, sacrificed more, and made better choices. To him, my success was a cosmic accident and his failures were cosmic injustice. His wife, Paula, was no different. She'd glance at my apartment, my car, my clothes, and mutter little comments about how some people have it easy. Their daughter, Mackenzie, had grown up on a steady diet of resentment toward Aunt Miranda, the woman who supposedly cheated her way into the life they deserved. So I tried to help my brother. 3 years ago, when he wanted to start a landscaping business, I co-signed his $150,000 business loan. Not a small favor. I put my name, my credit, my financial reputation on the line because I believed, or wanted to believe, that he'd finally found his path. The business struggled from day one. Nathan was better at imagining success than building it. He bought expensive equipment before he had clients. He hired friends instead of qualified workers. He spent more on the logo than on actual operations. Within a year, he was barely making loan payments. The bank began calling me. But I still didn't pull out. Because family. Because hope. Because a small part of me still believed he could become the man our parents imagined. Then came the housewarming. I had finally bought my dream home. A beautiful 4-bedroom craftsman in a historic neighborhood, fully renovated, with a study where I displayed the awards I'd earned over 15 years. Industry recognitions, innovation prizes, and a glass trophy naming me one of the most influential women in software development. They weren't decorations. They were proof that I'd earned every inch of my life. The housewarming was supposed to be a celebration. 30 friends and family came. The food was catered. My parents cried with pride. My colleagues and old college friends showed up. And Nathan arrived with his family, wearing matching sour expressions. I should have seen it coming. Paula's snide comments about square footage, Nathan avoiding compliments while scanning each room with clenched jaw, Mackenzie running wild while her parents ignored her. The moment happened in my study. I was giving a tour to colleagues when we heard the crash. We rushed in to find Mackenzie standing in the wreckage of my awards display. The glass shelf had been yanked from the wall. Trophies lay shattered across the floor. 15 years of hard work. Gone. What happened? I asked, my voice calm even as my heart sank. Mackenzie looked straight at me with her father's eyes full of resentment she'd been taught since birth. "Dad says you're just lucky," she said. "Anyone could do what you did if they got the same breaks. These don't mean anything." Then she kicked a broken trophy. I looked up at Nathan. He stood in the doorway smiling. Smiling. He gave Mackenzie a proud thumbs up, silently approving every word and every shard of glass. The room fell silent. My parents looked devastated. My colleagues were horrified. Paula inspected her nails like nothing had happened. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I'd learned long ago that showing emotion to Nathan only gave him ammunition. Instead, I smiled at my niece, the same smile I've used in boardrooms with hostile executives. You're right, Mackenzie. Anyone could do what I did. I stepped carefully over the broken glass. With enough hard work, sacrifice, and determination. Maybe your dad will show you how that works someday. I walked past my brother without another word. I went into my bedroom, shut the door, and made a phone call. Hi, this is Miranda Holloway. I need to speak with someone about removing my name from a loan guarantee. The bank representative explained the process. As the guarantor, I had the legal right to withdraw my guarantee with 30 days' notice, triggering an immediate review of the loan. If the primary borrower couldn't demonstrate an ability to repay independently, the bank could call the loan due in full. How quickly can you process the withdrawal? I asked. If you submit the paperwork tonight, the review begins tomorrow morning. I submitted the paperwork from my phone before I even left the bedroom. When I returned to the party, Nathan and his family were gone. They'd left without cleaning up the destruction, without apologizing, without even saying goodbye. My mother was on her knees, gently collecting the broken pieces of my awards. My father stood helplessly beside her, looking older than I had ever seen him. I'm so sorry, honey, Mom whispered. I don't know what's wrong with him. I do, I said quietly. Envy. Pure undiluted envy. He can't stand that I built something he couldn't, so he has to tear it down. And he's teaching his daughter to do the same. My father sighed, his shoulders heavy. Maybe we should talk to him. Family therapy or something. He's still your brother. I've been talking to him for 15 years, I said. I've helped him, supported him, put my finances at risk for him, and this is how he repays me. I looked at the broken glass cupped in my mother's hands. Some debts can't be forgiven. They didn't know about the loan guarantee. They didn't know what I had just set in motion. And I didn't tell them, because they would have tried to talk me out of it. The next morning at 8:47 a.m., I received a text from Nathan. What did you do? I didn't respond. Another text at 8:52. There are repo men at my shop. They're taking my equipment. So I said nothing. At 9:15 he called. I let it go to voicemail. Then he called again. And again. By noon I had 23 missed calls and a voicemail so profane I deleted it before it finished. The bank had moved fast. Without my guarantee, Nathan's loan was unsecured. His business had no assets to cover the debt. His credit was already damaged from late payments. The bank called the loan due, and when he couldn't pay, they seized what they could. By lunchtime his landscaping equipment was gone. By dinner his business truck was repossessed. By the end of the week, Holloway Landscaping was officially bankrupt. Nathan showed up at my house on Saturday. He didn't knock, he pounded on the door like he owned the place, like I owed him an explanation for his own failures. I opened the door but didn't invite him in. You destroyed my business, he spat. You vindictive, jealous. I removed my guarantee, I said calmly, cutting him off. That's all I did. The rest was the natural consequence of a business that couldn't stand on its own. That business was my life. And those awards were mine, I replied. 15 years of work. Recognition from my peers. Proof that I built something real. I gestured toward the study where the empty shelf still sat in plain view. Your daughter destroyed them while you cheered, I said. And you want to talk about what's been taken? They were just trophies. And it was just a guarantee, I said sharply. Just my credit. Just my financial reputation on the line for 3 years while you failed to build anything sustainable. I stepped closer. You've spent your entire life blaming luck for my success and unfairness for your failures. But here's the truth, Nathan. I wasn't lucky. I worked harder than you. I sacrificed more than you. I made better choices than you. And instead of learning from that, you taught your daughter to resent me for it. You always thought you were better than me, he growled. No, I said. I thought we were equals who made different choices. You're the one who couldn't accept that. I began closing the door. The guarantee is gone. The loan is called. Whatever happens next is between you and the bank. Don't come back here, Nathan. We're done. Mom and Dad will never forgive you for this. Mom and Dad watched your daughter destroy my achievements while you gave her a thumbs up, I said. They know exactly who's responsible. I closed the door. Goodbye, Nathan. I heard him standing there for a long time. Eventually he left. And he never came back. The aftermath was messier than I expected. Paula filed for divorce 2 months later, tired of Nathan's excuses and empty promises. She took Mackenzie and moved in with her parents. Nathan lost the house they were renting because he couldn't make payments without business income. Last I heard, he was living in a friend's basement working at a hardware store, still insisting that I sabotaged him. He never mentions the housewarming. He never mentions the broken awards. He never mentions the 3 years I spent guaranteeing his dream while he taught his daughter to hate me. Some people can only see themselves as victims. My parents struggled at first. They tried to stay neutral. But they had been there that day. They saw what Nathan had done. They saw him encourage Mackenzie. Eventually they stopped asking me to reconcile. They stopped making excuses. They accepted that their son had become someone they didn't recognize. I replaced my awards, not with trophies but with framed photos of the moments behind them. The conference where I won the innovation prize, the team celebration after our industry-changing launch, the magazine cover that marked a new generation of tech leadership. The trophies could be replaced. But the memories? Those were mine forever. 6 months later, Mackenzie sent me a letter. I suspect her mother made her write it, but the words felt genuine. She apologized for breaking my things. She said she didn't really understand why she'd been so angry at me, only that her dad had always talked about me like I stole something from him. I wrote back. I told her that her father's feelings were not her responsibility. I told her I hoped she'd grow up to build her own success instead of resenting others for theirs. I told her hard work is real, and luck is just what jealous people call it when they don't want to admit someone earned more than they did. I don't know if she understood. She's only 11. But maybe one day she will. And if you're hearing this, if you've ever been resented for your success by people who should have celebrated you, I want you to know something. Their envy is not your responsibility. Their failure is not your fault. You don't owe your success to people who spent years tearing you down. Protect what you've built, even from family. Especially from family who show you exactly who they are. And when they come looking for someone to blame for their choices, hand them a mirror.